Yeah.
Week 14 of college football saw 6 ranked teams go down, including 4 to unranked opponents. So naturally, there are a lot of shakeups in this week's top 25. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, bringing you our third set of top 25 rankings, the GE top 25. No relation to the AP poll, no relation to the College Football Playoff Committee, solely from us here at the Gridiron Expert. And again, we are doing this every Monday until Selection Sunday. So we have this week, and then we will have next week, and then we will know the final set of rankings in the top 4 teams in the country the following Sunday on December 20th. But we're ready to break down our brand new set of top 25 after a wild weekend of college football. Again, 6 ranked teams going down, upsets left and right, including 2 big ones in the 2 big ranked versus ranked matchups. So we're going to break down all 25 teams here and share our analysis and reasoning for why these teams are ranked where they are. Could be because of head-to-head results. Could be margin of victory. They win at home. They win on the road. Tons of criteria went into these rankings. And of course, we listed those in previous ranking videos as well. So let's go ahead and get started. A lot to cover today. And some teams up here that might surprise you a little bit. You look at this first column here, the top 10. That's where we always like to start. Those are the big names. And you can really draw, I would say, a fine line after Cincinnati. The Cincinnati is the cutoff for teams that, to me, really can contend for a college football playoff spot here in a few weeks. But you look at the top 4, you can't dispute it. Can't really argue it, guys. I don't know how you can. The top 4 teams in the country all took care of easy business this Saturday. Blowout fashion wins for all these 4 teams. Alabama defeating LSU 55-17. Notre Dame defeating Syracuse 45-21. Clemson defeating Virginia Tech 45-10. Ohio State defeating Michigan State. Ohio State, without their head coach Ryan Day, without 23 players, defeating Michigan State 52-12. So again, the top 4 teams did what a top 4 team and what the top 4 teams should do. And I can't really justify any changes in those top 4, whether it's Ohio State above Clemson or Clemson above Notre Dame. There's no justification there for any changes in the top 4. So those are your top 4 teams as of now, and probably what they will be when the rankings are released on Tuesday, when the committee releases their rankings going in to Week 15. We have a small shakeup here at 5 and 6. I continue to flop Texas A&M and Florida. Our first set of rankings had A&M ranked 5th, Florida at 6th, and then last week I bumped Florida up to 5th. It had A&M dropping to 6th because I was not very pleased with A&M's performance against LSU. And now, after Week 14, I was thrilled with A&M's performance, a game where they went on the road against a solid Auburn team and put up 509 yards of offense against that defense on the road. Thrilled with their performance, a 31-20 victory. Wasn't so thrilled with Florida's performance. I know they beat Tennessee 31-19. I know that Tennessee got a late touchdown. So really, it was 31-13 in some people's eyes. But Florida is the type of team that with the offensive firepower that they have, they should be murdering inferior opponents like Tennessee, like Vanderbilt, guys like that. They should be murdering them, blowing them out of the water to the point where it shouldn't even be an 18-point victory. It should be 28, it should be 35. And I know it's a lot to ask for. And I know that might sound petty in a way. But A&M, to me, played better this last weekend than Florida. I know they're still putting up ridiculous stats from Kyle Trask. I get that. And I get Florida is 1 win away in the SEC championship from making the college football playoff. The defense is going to be their main struggle, and Florida has not put away inferior opponents like A&M has and like Ohio State, Clemson, Notre Dame, and Bama has. So I flip-flopped them there. Again, the grand scheme of things, it's not going to matter. Florida beats Alabama, they're in, and where they're ranked right now doesn't really make that big a difference. Coming down to number 7, Cincinnati. Did not play this past weekend. No need to touch them. They're not going to get punished, but they're not going to get rewarded either, and there's no need to. There's no way the Bearcats are going to jump Florida or Texas A&M right now until things start to get shaken up in that conference championship game. So Cincinnati in at number 7. Iowa State moving up 1 spot for us to number 8. Look, when you defeat the top defense in the Big 12, when you defeat them 42-6, you deserve to move up a spot. You absolutely deserve to move up a spot. Now, granted, BYU was number 8 for us last week, and we'll touch on them in a minute. So BYU losing in our top 10 benefited some teams like Iowa State. The Cyclones, again, absolutely to me are a top 10 team. The committee thought that last week, bringing them in at number 9, which is exactly where we had them. The Cyclones in at number 8 and have clinched their first ever spot in the Big 12 championship game where they will face Oklahoma, not this Saturday, but the next. So a big, big game for Iowa State coming up. And, I mean, they're number 8 in the country. It probably will be when the committee releases their rankings. More than likely, as a 2-loss team, not going to get into the playoff, but you never know. We have seen crazier things happen. Iowa State at 8, Indiana at 9, moving up a spot as well. The Hoosiers going on the road and taking down Wisconsin, taking down the Badgers, 12th ranked Indiana, 16th ranked Wisconsin, yet Indiana was a 14-point underdog because they were playing without Michael Penix, their star quarterback who tore his ACL. Indiana going on the road and winning that game by 8 behind the strength of their defense and a solid performance from backup quarterback Jack Tuttle. So, all things considered, Indiana moving up a spot, a very impressive win for them, and they are still in the hunt for the Big Ten championship game if Ohio State does not play Michigan and if the Big Ten stays strong and stays firm on their decision of 6-game minimum to make the Big Ten championship game. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out in the following week. But the Hoosiers in at number 9 and Coastal Carolina ending our top 10, coming in at 10th, moving up 4 spots in our rankings. We had the Chanticleers at 14. They're now at number 10 following their thrilling 22-17 win over a good BYU team. Some may say Coastal's too high here. I can guarantee you they're not going to be a top 10 team when the committee releases their rankings. The AP poll didn't even have them as a top 10 team. But to me, they are worthy of this spot. They went in there in Conway, college game day in town. No one was giving them a fighting chance. Everybody thought they were going to get murdered by BYU, and they won by 5, stopping Dax Milne on the 1-yard line to win the game. It was a physical game. It was a chippy game. But they played better up front than BYU. We talked about that front 7. They rushed better than BYU, exploiting a great rushing defense in the Cougars. This Coastal team's for real. They're legit. They're undefeated, 10-0, one more game left, then the Sun Belt Conference Championship game. They should win both of those, and they might be 12-0 by season's end and looking at a New Year's Six bowl spot, possibly. But Coastal Carolina in at number 10, a spot that they absolutely deserve in my eyes. Over here in the second column, not many changes. You've got Miami, Oklahoma, Georgia, 11, 12, 13, all staying exactly where they were last week. Miami defeated Duke 48-0. Oklahoma defeated Baylor 27-14. Georgia did not play. Their game against Vanderbilt getting canceled a day before kickoff. So no changes there. And I know some might say it's ridiculous that Coastal Carolina jumped Miami, that they jumped Oklahoma. Again, we had them at 14th. And there's no way that I'm going to keep them there. And there's no way that I'm only going to move them up 1 or 2 spots after a win against what was our 8th-ranked team in the country. Again, also in a game where they were 10-point underdogs and no one was giving them a fighting chance. So Coastal Carolina, to me, deserves this top 10 spot, deserves to jump at Miami and Oklahoma team that beat mediocre and below-average teams in Duke and Baylor. Number 14, USC. We have the Trojans going up 2 spots, and some may say USC is not a top 15 team. Right now, I think they are. They showed that to me this past Sunday. On Sunday, remember they played Washington State on Sunday, where they defeated the Cougars 38-13. They played like the team we thought they would be. USC struggled over the first few weeks of the season. Escaped Arizona State, escaped Arizona. They did not look too good. They looked good against Washington State. And remember, the Cougars are not all that bad. Not great, not Pac-12 elite, but they're not bad. USC scored touchdowns on their first 5 possessions. They led 28-0 at the end of the first quarter. I know they were slowed down in that second half, but the game was all but out of reach by that point. So USC, they're looking good. And they might very well be the Pac-12 favorite now. They're the highest-ranked Pac-12 team. Oregon already has 2 losses. Oregon might not even win their division. That's going to be decided when they play Washington this Saturday. So USC might be the new Pac-12 favorite, but of course are nowhere near college football playoff contention. But nonetheless, up 2 spots, number 14 in the country. BYU, we had them dropping 7 following their loss to Coastal Carolina. 8th ranked team in the country, now 15th. They might fall out of the rankings when the playoff committee releases their rankings on Tuesday. If not, they'll probably be in this last column here, 21st to 25th. They want to hate on them. BYU is still a dang good football team. They're extremely physical, they're extremely balanced, and I'm not making excuses for them at all. All the credit in the world to Coastal Carolina for playing a physical game and getting the job done. But let's also keep in mind that BYU agreed to play Coastal Carolina about 2 days prior to kickoff. The game was announced that it was going to be played Thursday morning. The game was played Saturday afternoon. So in about a span of 2 days, they had to prep for Coastal Carolina. They had to get out to Coastal Carolina and play a game, one that they nearly won, getting stopped at the 1-yard line. So again, BYU is still a dang good football team. Still a dang good football team. They're going to win this upcoming week at San Diego State. 1-loss season and a game that was scheduled at the last second, one they weren't even supposed to play. Still a pretty dang good year for Kalani Sitake and the Cougars. They don't deserve to drop as far as many have them. I've got them still as a top 15 team. Northwestern in at 16. We have them moving up a spot. They didn't play this weekend, but because of all the changes and the losses, we have a team like Northwestern moving up a few spots. And you'll see here, when you draw this line at BYU, there are a lot of teams below them that are pretty interesting. It might catch your eye. You might think they're too high. You might be surprised they're even ranked. But when you look at who lost this weekend, it makes sense. Based on our rankings, 15th ranked Marshall, 18th ranked Wisconsin, 19th ranked Oklahoma State, 20th ranked Oregon, and 21st ranked Washington all lost this weekend. Washington, Oregon, Oklahoma State, and Marshall all lost to unranked opponents. Every single one of those teams that we just listed, we now have dropped out of our top 25. Marshall getting shut out against Rice certainly warrants that. Wisconsin to Indiana, to me, warrants that. Oklahoma State to TCU, Oregon to California warrants that, and Washington losing to Stanford, to me, warrants that. And Oregon and Washington so close to the border anyways, they deserve to drop out. So all those 5 teams drop out, which means teams below them really benefited this week, like Louisiana, moving up 6 spots. They were 23rd in our last set of rankings. Now they're 17th. The losses helped them, but an impressive road victory at Appalachian State also helped them as well. I know App State wasn't ranked, but that's a very difficult place to play, and the Mountaineers are still a dang good football team. The Raging Cajuns went in there, got revenge after a couple Sunbelt title defeats to the Mountaineers, and got revenge defeating them 24-21 thanks to a shanked field goal at the end of the game. So Louisiana up to 17. Tulsa moving up 4 spots, up to 18. They defeated Navy 19-6. They had an amazing defensive performance against a midshipman team that, as we all know, runs that triple option and usually runs it very well, although this year has been a bit of an exception. But Tulsa moving up to 18. They play Cincinnati on Saturday. So we have the 7th-ranked Bearcats taking on the 18th-ranked Golden Hurricane, a game that will be the first of 2 meetings between the two, because regardless of what happens in that game, Cincinnati and Tulsa will meet the next week in the American Athletic Conference Championship game. But obviously both those huge for Cincinnati in terms of their playoff resume and playoff hopes as a whole. Iowa at number 19. We have the Hawkeyes moving up 6 spots. I know that might seem high for some, but they've won 5 straight games. You cannot ignore that. Even though they haven't been against the best opponents, 5 straight games in Big Ten Conference play is still very, very impressive. So Iowa moving up 6 spots. They found themselves down early to Illinois 14-0, rattled off 35 straight points. They play Wisconsin this next week, and that's a big game. Even though the Badgers, in our eyes, aren't a top 25 team, they're still a solid team, and that should be a good, fun, defensive slugfest on Saturday. Colorado rounding out this last column here. The Buffaloes, led by Carl Durrell, a team that was picked last in the Pac-12 South, a team that we didn't even have winning a single game, had them going 0-10, I believe it was, back when the schedule was going to be like that. We didn't have them winning a single conference game this year, though. They're now 4-0, our 20th ranked team in the country, and depending on what happens this weekend, could very well win the Pac-12 South. USC plays UCLA, and if Colorado wins their game against Utah, and USC loses to UCLA, which could very well happen, Colorado will be 5-0 and will win the Pac-12 South. How about that? How 2020 is that? So the Buffaloes, unbelievable job. They defeated UCLA, who beat a good Arizona State squad despite them being now 0-2. They defeated Stanford, who just beat Washington. They beat San Diego State, a solid team out of the Mountain West, and just took care of business against Arizona. This Buffaloes team is for real and deserve this 20th ranked spot in the country. Over in the final column here, Liberty, 21, have them moving up 3 spots. They're going to finish the year at 9-1. The Flames were supposed to play Coastal Carolina. We obviously know that did not happen due to COVID-19. So Hugh Freeze and Liberty will finish the year at 9-1. Should find themselves in a solid bowl game, hopefully. I know they don't have an official tie-in as they're an independent, but this team is too good and too fun to watch to not get to go to the postseason. Liberty, 21st, and those remain in the top 25 until season's end. North Carolina in at 22. Everybody left here is new to our rankings. They were not ranked last week. North Carolina has been in and out all year long. And I'm not putting them in at 22 because of their impressive victory over Western Carolina 49-9, but they are a relatively consistent team. They've been on the wrong side of a few games, lost to Florida State, lost to Virginia. They've obviously screwed up a handful of times, no doubt about it. But this North Carolina's team is still pretty dang good, and they've got a big game against Miami this Saturday. Bit of a revenge game for the Hurricanes, but a great matchup between Miami's defense and North Carolina's offense. Must-see football, and they, to me, are a lower-tier top 25 team. North Carolina State, right behind them. The Wolfpack, their season is over, and they finished the year 8-3. This team went, 4-8 last year? And now they're 8-3. What an amazing turnaround for Dave Doeren and his Wolfpack squad. They've ended the year on a 4-game win streak that included a win over Liberty. I know we're saying, we're not giving them that head-to-head advantage here, but Liberty, to me, has always been ranked above North Carolina State. That's not going to change now, especially with UNC being ranked there, UNC owning that head-to-head result over the Wolfpack. But regardless, an impressive year from Dave Doeren and the Wolfpack here. 23rd in the country, a spot, to me, they should stay in until the postseason. And then finally, Texas in at 24. They've been back and forth in and out of the rankings. They were ranked when they played Iowa State. They lost to Iowa State, fell out, so they were right on that border. They just defeated Kansas State 69-31. So I know Kansas State's not all that, not what they thought they'd be, but still 69 points on the Wildcats. They are now 24th in the country, a spot they deserve. And then Buffalo in at 25. Got to give some credit to the MAC powers here. Buffalo, they're 4-0, should finish 5-0. They should defeat Akron on Saturday. They're going to win the MAC East, so they're going to the MAC championship game, and it's all thanks to this guy named Jarrett Patterson, who's averaging 8.6 yards per carry, 920 yards on the year, and 16 touchdowns, 8 of those coming in one game against Kent State. Not this past week, but the week before that. This Buffalo team is legit. The AP poll ranked them, and we had to rank them too because they're a team that you really should watch for. They're a team that's just fun to watch, and again, it's all because of their electric running back in Patterson. So there you have it, guys. Our GE Top 25 going into Week 15, our third set of rankings of the year. And again, we want to hear from you. Who's too high? Who's too low? Who should be ranked that is not ranked? Who is ranked that shouldn't be ranked? We want to hear from you guys. We've criticized the AP poll and the committee so much this year, so now it's your turn to criticize us if you feel inclined to do so. But we want to hear from you. We want to hear your thoughts and your comments on our top 25, and of course, we'll have a reaction to the committee's top 25 that will be released on Tuesday. We'll have a reaction to that on our live stream later this week. So guys, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, and share our videos. And also make sure to check out everything down in that description below. We've got exclusive content such as our expert picks and newsletter over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. We also have exclusive offers over on BetNow and Patreon. Make sure to go check it all out if you're a die-hard college football fan like myself. I promise you do not want to miss it. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.